So if the passengers were drinking and distracting the driver, does that affect who's at fault?
Passengers who are consuming alcohol that distract the driver, leading to a boat crash, could potentially be responsible for causing the crash, depending on exactly what they were doing, the level of distraction they were creating, were they intentionally distracting the boat operator. With that said, boat operators are responsible for operating their boat in a safe manner. And if they're distracted or something like that is happening, they need to take the proper steps, such as slowing down or stopping the boat to prevent anyone from being injured.
If a child is hurt on a dock or near water, do the rules change?
A child that's injured on a dock, near a body of water, or a pool, the rules on negligent and liability may potentially change. Certain water features, especially such as pools and, say, private ponds, are known to entice children. And so property owners are required to take the steps necessary to prevent, especially young children, from being injured or drowned by accessing these kind of private bodies of water. And so the law on negligence regarding those kind of accidents, especially with younger children, is different than the standard negligence rules that apply to, say, injuries involving adults.
If a teen gets hurt while in a public lake, is the property owner that's attached to that lake liable?
If a individual, especially a teenager or an adult, is injured in a public body of water, the adjacent private landowner is typically not responsible for that injury unless the private landowner had done something that contributed to the injury. Say they had secured a rope out into the water that caused somebody to be hurt, then potentially the private adjacent landowner could potentially be responsible for those injuries.
If a child is not wearing a life jacket and gets hurt, how does insurance use that?
The insurance company will certainly argue that if a child was not wearing a life jacket and suffered some kind of injury as a result, such as a drowning or a near drowning, the insurance company will try oftentimes to shift the blame to the parent or other responsible party who was present, who did not have the child in a life jacket. There are very specific laws in Texas about when children of a certain age do and do not have to wear life jackets on boats, and those can have a significant impact on these types of cases. But generally, insurance companies will try to use any lack of the wearing of a life jacket, even in adults at times, to try and shift liability and responsibility away from the insurance companies insured.
If a jet ski stalls and causes a crash, is this a maintenance issue or the driver's fault?
If a jet ski stalls and causes a crash, usually an investigation is needed to determine who's at fault. If the jet ski stalled because it was not properly maintained, that is likely the responsibility of the owner of the jet ski or the company that maintained it, or potentially both. Whereas if the jet ski stalled because it's being improperly operated, or it being operated in a haphazard way that leads to the stalling and the crash, in those cases, then it is usually the responsibility of the operator of the jet ski.
If you get injured while stepping off of a boat onto a dock, who's responsible?
Somebody who's injured while getting on or off a boat onto a dock may have a claim against the boat operator and may have a claim against the owner or operator of the dock. These kind of cases are very fact specific. But for instance, if a person is injured because they step on to the dock and fall and are injured because there's a loose board on the dock, that would typically be the responsibility of the owner or operator of the dock. Whereas if somebody is injured because the boat operator pulls away from the dock too fast and the person exiting the boat falls and hurts themselves, In those types of cases, it's usually the boat operator that is responsible and liable for those injuries.